going around the car, trying to scrape as much underseal off it as possible. This is because when it goes for shot blasting, because underseal is quite soft, it'll absorb the impact of the sand, so therefore it just won't get to the surface, so it won't clear any rust away or anything that's lurking underneath it. So if I can clean off as much as I can, it saves the guy shot blasting it a lot of time and energy, so it reduces the price overall. And I'm just coming down in the evenings after work and just cleaning it all off. So here's the axle. It's in pretty poor condition. There's a snap bolt on it, so you'll see further on in the video I have to make a new stud. So here I've got the engine in a turnover jig, and I'm completely stripping all the components out of it so the block can be fully degreased and get sent off to the machine shop. So here I am, dressed as a Teletubby, blasting the gearbox, axle and all the engine components. I coated them all in degreaser and I blasted them all off with a jet wash to clean them up as best as I could. So I'm just on the lathe creating that new stud for the check strap to sit on the axle that snapped off when I was undoing it. I'm just using the lathe to turn a piece of metal and then I'll tap it at the end. So I made the first part of the shank now. Just need to skim the outer of this, clamp it on that, and it should be okay to go. So I'm just welding on that new stud that I made now. I've got to weld it on the front and the back. This was quite challenging, to be fair. I had limited access to get into the area that I needed to weld, so it won't ever look as good as factory, but it will serve a purpose of holding the check strap in place and stopping overextension of the axle. So I'm just sandblasting all the components here, getting them ready to be primed up and then painted in black 2K. So here we have all the car components that were painted black, hung up after a coat of primer. I used zinc phosphate primer to alleviate any corrosion and help the primer adhere to the raw metal better. So I'm just fabricating this new panel at the bottom of the radiator, as when I took it apart I realised that there was a panel riveted across here to sort of replace what this is. So I've fabricated pretty much a brand new one, best of my ability. I'd say it's okay. I'm just going to plug weld it up now, and then one of the flanges on this side has broken off, so I've got to just put a bit of a weld there, which isn't going to look factory, but oh well. So here's the middle point. I've welded it all up, grinding it all back down. I prepared this, welded across using a piece of bronze, just to not go through. And then down here, I've had to add a new section here, just because it is literally non-existent. Now I've got to drill a hole and put a captive nut in it. That shouldn't be too hard, and then inside here, just going to lace them back a bit more, just then a bit prettier, and that should be it. I've also welded the two top cracks here. Because these will be visible, I will skim over these with a bit of filler and try and grind them back a bit better. So I'm just visually inspecting the gearbox, and to be honest with you, I'm not going to do anything to this gearbox, as it looks pretty fresh and reconditioned. There's hardly any backlash, and there's no end flow pretty much either end. Everything runs smoothly. I've bench tested it, put it into gear, everything seems to be fine, so I'm not going to bother doing anything. So I've just been wire wheeling the gearbox. It's come up pretty good. I might still paint it, don't know yet, but it's come up like new, so I might just use it in the state that it's in.